there! Happy holidays! Christmas is almost here. It's just right around the corner. And I thought, of course, why don't I make an awesome gingerbread house to impress my family and friends? It'll be so amazing. And then I thought to myself, gingerbread houses are boring. What could I make out of gingerbread that would be way cooler? Yes, that's right, an NES game console. Inspired by the new NES system that just came out this year with all of the awesome games on it, I decided to take a blast from the past and make an NES console true to 80s style. That is for sure. Now, this one doesn't play any games, but it definitely is delicious. So let's get started and I'll show you guys how to make this awesome gingerbread house NES console. To make the gingerbread, you'll need 2 cups granulated sugar, 2 cups plus 2 tablespoons brown sugar, 1 cup Crisco shortening, 3 tablespoons molasses, 4 eggs, 1½ teaspoon salt, 2 teaspoons baking soda, 6 cups flour, 1 tablespoon ginger, and 1 tablespoon cinnamon. For the icing, you'll need 6 egg whites, 1 teaspoon cream of tartar, and a 2-pound bag of powdered sugar. You'll also need some of these awesome decorations: black licorice rolls, M&Ms, and pre-made black icing. The first thing we want to do is make our gingerbread. We want to start by creaming the shortening and sugar in a large stand mixer. Then you're going to add the eggs one at a time, beating until they're fluffy. Add the molasses, salt, baking soda, ginger, and cinnamon. Mix this all together completely. Then add the flour 1 cup at a time. The dough will become very stiff and the bowl will be quite full. Once the flour is incorporated, turn the mixer off. Roll the dough to a 1/8 thickness on parchment paper. Trace around the paper stencils that I provided down below with a knife, and then cut out the pieces needed to make the gingerbread NES console. Lift away the excess dough with your fingers. Be sure to leave some space between the pieces. The dough does expand while baking. Lift up the dough and parchment paper and place on a cookie sheet. Bake at 375 degrees for 10 to 14 minutes. Slightly overbaked is what we're looking for so that these will be nice and solid. After the gingerbread has been done baking, take it out of the oven, and while it's still hot, cut around the edges so that you have a clean, crisp edge of all of the gingerbread cookie pieces. They'll fit together better this way. Make sure that you don't take off too much though. Then let the cookie pieces cool completely before assembling. Overnight is always best if you have the time. Then we're going to make our icing. Pour the egg whites into an impeccably clean mixing bowl of a stand mixer. Add the sugar and cream of tartar. Mix on medium speed for 10 to 15 minutes until the icing is stiff. To prevent crusting over, keep the bowl covered with a wet cloth at all times. Now for the decorations. What you want to do is you want to put some of the black icing into the white icing that you just made, just a little bit, so that you can make 1 dark gray piece of icing and 1 light gray thing of icing. After this is done, you're going to fill a piping bag up with your icing. The easiest way to do it is just pull it over a glass, your piping bag, and then fill that with the icing. It's super easy and you can use the glass to store it later. Now we're going to decorate our gingerbread pieces before we put them all together. It's just easier this way. What I did to follow the template is I took little bits of the white icing on a toothpick and kind of marked where I was going to start on the different things. I started with the black icing because it was a little gooier than the rest. The store-bought icing was not as hard as my icing, which was a little unfortunate, but you know, we made it work. Then I just filled in the black icing to where I marked it off, and then I took the light icing and put that on the top half of the NES system. And I did front and back at the same time just to make it a little bit easier. And then I filled in the bottom with the dark gray icing. And what you can do after you put your icing on, you can take a toothpick to kind of smooth it all out so that it doesn't look like it's a bunch of little icing streaks. The big areas are a little more difficult, but you know, you just gotta try your best. Then I did the sides. I did 2 sides in the light gray and 2 sides in the dark gray. The dark gray is going to be our bottom piece and the light gray is going to be our top piece.
Then I decorated the controller. I started with some of the light gray on the outside and filled that in with the black. And then I waited for that to dry, and I started on the decorations. I used the light icing to make the buttons, and I used red M&Ms to make the A and B buttons and all of that. Now's the fun part where it's time to put it all together. It's so exciting. I'm gonna do this in kind of fast motion for you. It took a lot longer than this, but you know, that was kind of boring to watch. So what you want to do is you want to take your icing, you want to make sure it's stuck down to the bottom all nice and good. And you'll find in your template that there'll be middle gingerbreads that you can stick in the middle to help keep it all standing up. You'll see a little bit later that I used some ramekins. You can use a glass or something to help hold up the sides. It's a little tricky. The bottom side has to be curved in a little bit, so it's a little hard for it to dry. Then I put on the top, and as you can see, there was a little bit of gaps in there because the cookies didn't quite fit up after they were baked. So I just filled those in with some extra icing. Not the prettiest, but you know, we do what we can. Then I decorated with the front buttons. I filled in the black space. I put on a little line where you would open it up to put the game in. I put a little dot where you would turn on, and then I stuck the controller on with some icing, and then took some of this awesome licorice wheel and unwrapped it and put it around. That's my favorite part. I think it looks the coolest. It looks like a real cord. And there you have it. You have your NES Gingerbread console. It's so cool!
I hope you guys really liked this video. I don't know about you, but I loved how this turned out. Sure, some of the edges weren't quite as perfect as I'd hoped they would be, but it still turned out really amazing. So you guys can make this exact gingerbread house with some plans that I made to make all of the different gingerbread pieces. I'll put a link to that down below so that you guys can test this out on your own. And I want to see all of these. I want you guys to make these and show them to me because they're gonna be amazing. I am so excited to see what you guys come up with. I'm gonna go ahead and show this off to my friends and family and then probably eat most of it on my own. If you guys like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share this video with your friends. It really helps me out when you guys do that, so don't forget to do that. And then subscribe to my channel for more videos just like this, and I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Bye!